Welcome back to Unlocked, guys. Today, I'm so excited because I have Emmy on with me.
Hello, everybody.
So, for those of you that don't know, Emmy is Chase's fiance, and we've had like a whirlwind of kind of ups and downs. It was kind of featured on the show, but also what we're going to talk about is how that wasn't necessarily the most accurate depiction.
Yep. Very true.
People... We've had a disconnect, but it's never been like a mean.
No.
Nothing.
No, not at all.
Nothing like that. But before we get there, y'all,
we have a lot to talk about.
Okay. So before we started this, Aaron and I were talking about my podcast photo.
Let me see it.
That is pulling from, please look at this.
Savannah! Oh my God.
Okay, y'all. This pulls from Wikipedia.
Hold on. Time out. I didn't know you then. So why did you cut your hair?
I had no choice. And then I just played it off like I meant to. Well, because I had got my hair colored. I think I got it colored like too close in time.
Oh, and it burnt your hair.
Yes. And by two different people. And it literally just gave me like a bleach cut. So I had no choice. Like if I wanted, and I'd had like a few surgeries for endometriosis.
Okay.
So the anesthesia, all that. Like I had no choice. So I had to.
You pulled it off though.
At times. I mean, yeah, at times I pulled it off. But
no, you did. Like
I also looked like I batted for the other team at times too.
If I could never cut my hair, like ever.
I think you look good with hair to like your shoulder. Like I love your shoulder.
I know, y'all all say that, but I don't know. I just get in these moods where like, I think long hair is fun and like long nails is fun, but then I go back. I'll go from one extreme to the next. It just depends on what mood I'm in. It's weird.
It's weird. Well, yeah. So y'all, basically we're trying to figure out how to get this god awful photo of me off of my podcast page because
I wonder why they can't.
I don't know. The world right now just has a hatred for all things Chrisley. That's what I'm going for. Wikipedia hates us. Everybody does.
That's not true. Screw the haters.
I love you. And then, too, we were talking about before this. So, y'all, I just got a privacy screen.
Oh, yeah.
For my phone because I have had more people in line at like Target or the grocery store or just like standing there trying to look over at my phone.
I have to admit, I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, Emmy, but so am I.
If anybody is beside me and I can see their phone, I'm like, especially Chase, and he's like, get out of my phone. I'm like, Chase, if it's in my face, I'm going to look at it.
But it's not in your face. It's like to the side.
It's in my view. If it's in my view, I'm going to look. That's just how I am. But honestly, I had a privacy screen and I didn't like it.
See, I don't like it either. Like for myself, but it's also I don't want people snooping all up in my business, like especially right now.
Yeah, especially yours.
Yeah, like I'm good. Just mind your own business, please.
Yeah.
But now they've got no choice because they will go cross-eyed trying to see what is on this phone now. So, you know, whatever, to each their own.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, there's a lot of fun stuff that we can talk about.
Yeah.
But like I touched on at the very beginning, going back to the show. So how long have you and Chase been together?
So Chase and I have been together. Let's see. We started talking right before COVID hit. What is that, 3 years?
What?
Really? That seems long.
That seems like, I don't know. Like, it just seems like time's flown.
Yeah, so we like started officially talking, I mean like right before COVID hit. And then, you know, he was in Florida.
Yeah.
He was quarantined down there. And then he came back and then we hung out and we've been attached to the hip. Kinda, not really. We've had some up and downs.
Well, we all do. We all have the ups and downs. I mean, no relationship is easy in today's day and age.
Oh, yeah. No. Especially with social media and all that crap.
Yeah. Like, so there was like a little time at the beginning to where it was kind of like on and off.
Oh, yeah. It was on and off. And then we were doing really well. And then we did have one like major breakup where we didn't talk for like I want to say it was 2 months, but it was probably like 2 weeks.
I mean, it was not 2 months. It was maybe.
It felt like 2 months for me. And then after that, we got back together and we have been great.
Yeah.
Honestly, like our relationship.
Other than normal stuff.
Yeah, right.
Like it's been good.
It has.
But also I think it was hard too because in the midst of COVID, everyone's dealing with their own emotions.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a lot going on in your life personally.
Right.
Obviously we have too. Mm-hmm. So it's it was like everything in a way was against y'all. You know what I mean? Between timing, circumstances, whatever it may be. And then when we filmed the show, I'm trying to think, what was it? It was like, because I had people come at me like, I'm so disappointed in you. Like, you're such a mean girl. How you could be.
Yeah.
Like, how you could be so mean to Emmy. And I was like, y'all.
And I don't know. Can I even talk about this?
Yes.
Okay. So when Savannah and I were filming in Miami, we had a fight. And in the fight, it was a play fight, but I still called you a bad word. And I'm not going to say it. And I was like, that is not me. Like, thank goodness they cut that out, though. Yeah. Because I was like, I don't want that to be, like, people to know me as calling Savannah a...
Y'all, she doesn't want to say it, but... bitch.
Yeah. That's the word. But remember, we were on the yacht and we were like joking around. But I was like, thank God they cut that out. But
and TV has a way of making things look a way that they're not. And with editing and all of those things. And y'all, it's not to say that Emmy and I have a great relationship by any means. Yeah. But it's also not like there's this...
There's no hate.
No,
at all.
There's none. And we've never had we have one crossword. Like,
okay, that was actually in real life.
That was in real life. We had one real life cross argument.
But that's what happens with sisters. I mean, I know we're not sisters yet, but family is going to get in arguments.
Yeah.
And
too, it wasn't, but also it was very, it turned around very quickly.
It did.
It did, because I feel like we both saw at that point, it had to do with Chase, y'all.
He's always in the middle of it, if anything.
But that's where I was going to, was we're not the only two females that have had a hard time connecting.
Yeah.
In a family when when you started dating my brother, whatever it may be. And if we really look at it, it really has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
It has to do with Chase.
And the fact that Chase, so I've heard, did not have a good track record in his dating. So I'm sure y'all were skeptical at first, who the heck is this Emmy girl?
Yeah. Well, it was
what are her intentions?
Yeah, because you said,
that's understandable.
Yeah, his track record was not great. I mean, I don't have no room to talk.
None of us do. Because my track record does not mean getting there. But
I got a messy track record.
Yeah.
But also, people he dated didn't have good intentions.
Right.
Definitely were using him. I almost got in a fist fight with one of them. One of our producers had to stop me. So, y'all, I can get messy.
Yeah.
If you mess
That's
with
why I don't mess with Savannah.
Be quiet.
Or I try not to.
I try not to. No, we joke all the time about that. Because it's funny, because I feel like where our rub has gotten, and too, it's caused conflict with Chase, is just wanting what's best for him. Mm-hmm. And then also at times, though, our whole family has said, well, she's too good for him, or she, so it kind of switches back and forth.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it's not like like I said, it's not like there's anything that's ever happened. It's just there's some sort of disconnect.
Yeah.
But I think too, it's also, I've got a very loud, bold, opinionated personality. Right. And you're very much of a people pleaser, keep the peace.
Uh-huh.
And I used to be that way.
Yeah.
Until, I don't know, I'd say the past year or two, to where I've become more of tired of being silenced. And I
Right.
think because of the show and having to
Yeah.
have a certain image and whatever it may be,
Exactly.
I was just super, did what everyone wanted me to do, said what everyone
Yeah.
wanted me to say. And now I'm like, screw that. I'm going
Yeah.
to say,
Don't get
whatever.
me wrong. I am a sweet girl. I'm 90% sweet, but I can that 10% can come out every now and then.
But
it takes a lot to get me there.
That's what I was going to say. It takes a lot to get you there.
It does. It really does. And I understand because you're the only girl in your family. That's how I am. Besides Chloe.
Well, Chloe and Lindsay. So
I mean, the one that's always
day to day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see how and we're like close in age. We're pretty similar. Like,
Yeah.
I can see how
We
you
are.
would be like,
And that's the thing. It's like when it comes to the whole, like you said, Lindsay is so much older. Chloe is so
Right.
much younger.
Exactly.
And Lindsay doesn't live here. And so it's kind of like you said, I'm the only girl in that
so
aspect
that's
of like
really like all you know.
at a certain age.
Yeah. And then I come in and I'm like, hey. Savannah's like, who the heck is this?
And too, I will say there was a sense of jealousy because there's never been a girl that's come into the family
Yeah.
that anyone's really liked.
Exactly.
So I never had to worry about like my place being taken.
Yeah. And it's never going to be taken by me. I can assure you that.
But like all that comes from is insecurity and being so used to being in a certain
And that's
spot.
normal. Like,
Yeah. And that, I think when I saw that, it was selfish of me to kind of act out and say whatever, have an attitude or
right.
not be welcoming. But that was my own insecurities that obviously had to work through. And two, Chase didn't make it easy either.
I know. In the beginning, I feel like he's gotten better. But in the beginning, I feel like when we were rocky, he kind of put a wall up between you and I.
Yeah.
And the rest of your family.
100%. And that's the hard part is that like people have to learn that they can move on from something. Grayson and I talked about it in our podcast is like, you can move on from something with Chase, but your family may not be able to.
And I get it because I have brothers.
Yeah. And
one of them is gay.
I love, y'all.
The other one's straight. So he obviously likes girls. So I've dealt with other girls. So I know how it is.
Yeah, y'all. Emmy's brother, Trip.
He's crazy.
He's crazy. We've tried to set him and Chad up, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
I love it. But I'm trying to think, where were we before this? Talking about me and
we have gone all
Chase.
over the place.
We really have. Because also too, y'all, I think why we're all over the place is because we really haven't had
Yes. I was gonna say that.
a conversation with each other, because I think of the point I'm at in my life right now, I'm not the most approachable human being because of hurt and anger and all these things.
Yeah.
So that's one reason. And then also I'm bad at holding, I don't want to say holding grudges. You want to
You
tell
can
me,
say it.
You know what I keep going back to?
Oh God, what?
Is, and I don't know if it was like the denial of it that stuck with me at the very beginning when you and Chase started dating. And I think it was right after you had moved to Nashville, basically, for, you were here all the time. And I had asked you if you wanted to go work out with me.
And I did.
And you didn't. No, you did not.
Sis, I have a picture.
The first time you did not. You went with me one time, but I don't know if it was maybe after that or before. I don't know. I just know that it stuck with me. It stuck with me. And I was like, I'm not going to ask her to do anything ever again. Like,
that's ridiculous.
I know it is. And Grayson called me out and was like, Savannah, you are so petty. But I don't know. It has nothing to do with like, going and working out. But I think I don't know.
I get it.
Just associating that with like...
You're like, oh, she doesn't want to spend time with me. Like, I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
And I probably had something going on.
Or no, back then, do not even pull that. Back then, you did not.
Well, I was probably scared. I'm like, Savannah works out like a freaking maniac, and I'll like pass out on the floor over here. That was another reason, probably.
But it was, I don't know why, and I don't know if it's because I'm like, and too, like you said, Chase definitely got in the middle a lot.
He did. Mm-hmm.
So it's also hard to have, it's hard for you because you're kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't, because having loyalty to your relationship while also having loyalty to like a friendship and relationship
and y'all,
to me.
Exactly.
It's hard to maintain the two of them, I feel like.
Yeah.
But, and especially with Chase, because Chase just pushes. He wants to know everything. Yeah. What was said, what was done, who blinked 5 times, like whatever it may be. But.
Well, like I told you on Sunday, I was like, I have not seen you in so long because you've obviously had your hands full and I've been at home with my family. And we just haven't been in a setting where it's just been the two of us. It's always someone else is with us. So we've never actually had a chance to sit down and like talk about things.
100%.
And we should do this every week, just off air.
Now it's like, all right, y'all can watch the relationship evolve.
Yeah. Get our coffee in hand and just start chatting.
But... And too, like I have been in such a dark hole of like just a major depression. And when I'm in it, I can't get out of it. Like I have not been working out.
And I want to help you.
I know. And I'm just not the easiest person to help.
But I don't even know how to help. I really don't. That's why I'm like, what can I do?
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not the easiest person to help right now. And I think for me, Dad's always been my go-to. Mm-hmm. Like that's always been my steady. That's always been, if I'm having a bad day, like he knows, like he's just like, what's wrong? Yeah. He's like, I know you're struggling today. I know, like we just have that relationship and we talk about every single thing. Mm-hmm. And that's where I can go to and just like completely fall apart and him help me build myself back up. Yeah. And you and I kind of touched on this because before we came on the podcast, obviously I wanted to make sure, like, what are you comfortable in talking about? What are you not? And I'm like, I'm an open book. Yeah. So, but out of respect. I'll talk about anything. And too, out of respect for you, because our relationship isn't like this, the strongest thing in the world. Right. So it's not like I want to do anything to make you feel like you can't trust me, whatever it may be. Yeah. But I would never feel that way. With Dad, I've said... Well, with both Mom and Dad, I've said it's like grieving the loss of parents that are still alive. Yeah. Which is the hardest thing in the world. Like, I feel like I've distanced myself to prepare for what's coming. Yes. And you can relate to that. 100%. It's similar, but it's also very different. Yeah. And if you want to maybe tell a little bit of your story, I don't want to tell it for you. Yeah. So... some of you might not know, but in, August 2019, my dad got diagnosed with ALS, which you might know it as Lou Gehrig's disease, where the nerve cells in your body break down and basically your muscles deteriorate. Mm-hmm. So everything that's easy to do, like walking, breathing, talking, anything that involves muscle movement progressively gets worse. So he got diagnosed in 2019 and he had a slow progression at first, but it has definitely gotten worse since then. And as you know, I was at home with my family about 2 weeks, or was it a week ago? Well, for Thanksgiving. Yeah, for Thanksgiving. Yeah. And my dad got really sick. So they think he got a virus on top of having ALS. And it was so scary. I mean, I honestly did not even think he was going to make it through the night. You know, your oxygen is supposed to be like high 90s. Yeah, like 98, 99. And his oxygen was so low, it was not even reading. And then it finally read and it was 60.
I think at one point it was 57. That's crazy. My little cousin passed away from cancer, and the doctor told her her oxygen was 83. And the doctor said, she's probably like passing away tonight. She didn't. But still, like, if your oxygen, his was 57.
Well, I remember in the midst of COVID, like in the height of it, if your oxygen was any lower than 95, like you need to go to the hospital.
Yeah. So every time he sat up, he would pass out. And thank God for Bence, my little brother. His girlfriend's mom is a hospice nurse.
Yeah.
And my dad is in hospice. He's at home care hospice. So they come to our house, or my parents' house. But so her mom's a hospice nurse, and I swear to you, she saved his life that night because he's on a ventilator, and she found the tube or the cord to hook up to the machine so he could get oxygen, because he didn't have, I mean, his oxygen's always been fine. It just for some reason like went so low that night, and she hooked it up and he was able to get oxygen, and it got back up to the 90s. But oh my gosh, it was so scary. He literally passed out like 10 times. Yeah. Just sitting up in bed.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to have to take a break and put on my sassy because my lips are like, you need some?
I love you so much. Actually, I will take some. Y'all, this is why I love.
I stole this from Chase. There you go.
Yeah, this is the oil. Olive oil. But I love you.
But it was honestly so scary. And he could not even lift his head up. We took a picture on Thanksgiving. We just got like circled around him in the bed. And my mom had to lift his neck up because he didn't even have the strength to lift his head up. And he did not get out of bed for about 3 days. He wouldn't eat, drink. And then all of a sudden, like by the grace of God, I posted that picture on Instagram. Yeah. And obviously I got his permission because he's weird about like posting.
And too, stuff. I think it's also as a man, as a dad, as a husband, not, he's doing all he can to show up. Yeah. And so I think too, there's like a pride element involved too that.
And I would keep people posted on Instagram about him when he was still able to walk and like he could still talk and all this stuff. But as it's progressively gotten worse, I haven't really shared that on Instagram just because, I don't know, just out of respect for him. I mean, he doesn't like when pictures are taken and posted. He has to approve everything just like us. But so I asked him, I was like, Daddy, I don't care. Like, I just need to ask people to pray for you. Like, I won't go into detail. I won't say anything. I just need people to pray for you. Mm-hmm. And the amount of love and support I got from that picture was just crazy. But the next day, he started feeling better. Yeah. Like, and he's eating again. He's off his oxygen.
But when you posted that photo with him and that milkshake.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, like.
He rode to Columbus with my mom, got a Chick-fil-A milkshake. Like, he's talking again because when he was sick, I mean, we couldn't even understand him. Yeah. He had no strength to even talk. So he is so much better by the grace of God. It is truly a miracle that he survived whatever bug or virus he had. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And just watching, I will say, watching you, we're a lot more similar than we really think because you put on a smile, you keep pushing through the day, whether it's what you have to post on Instagram or what you like. And that's the hard part is people don't realize like it's a business.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you've got a business you have
deadlines.
To run. Yeah. You've got a business you have to run. You're making money, you're hustling, you're doing whatever you have to do in order to provide for yourself, your family, whoever it may be. But your world is also falling apart as well. Yeah. And people will come at you. People, like the amount of people who have come at me about posting sassy stuff since the sentencing. It's like, guys, I have a business I have to run.
You can't just stop your life.
No. And that's the hard part.
And our parents wouldn't want us to do that.
Yeah.
No matter what happened.
I think that's what I'm struggling with right now is business-wise, like I keep pushing forward because that's always been my easy go-to where I don't have to focus on anything else. Yeah. So business-wise, I'm going to push forward. I'm going to do my podcast, Sassy. I'm going to do all the things. But personally, I feel like there's a level of guilt associated with like moving on with my life.
Yeah.
And thinking of mom and dad not being here during certain life events. And it's like, I can't, in my mind, I'm like, I can't move on with my life. I can't until I know that they're going to be there.
Yeah.
I can't get married. I can't have a kid.
Yeah.
I can't, which for me, like they're going to eventually one day get to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like when I start, and dad has told me, like when I start feeling bad for myself, it's like, hey, but look at what Emmy's going through.
Yeah.
Like dad was like, it doesn't, if I may not be here in front of you, he was like, but I'm still alive.
Yeah.
I'm still fighting. I'm still, you don't have to live a day without speaking to me.
Exactly.
And that's where it's with you're in a completely different boat.
Right.
And I don't know how you do it. Like I don't either.
By the grace of God, I'm not even kidding.
I have so much respect for you and so much like admiration for you because I think I look at you sometimes. I'm like, I wish I could be that. Aww. Like I wish I could have a level of faith that you have and can push forward. And right now I'm just angry and I'm sad and upset. But
that's okay because we all go through phases like that.
Like I just don't know how you do it. I really don't.
And everybody processes things differently. I feel like I've really leaned into my faith, but there was a time right when my dad got diagnosed, like you were talking about, like stopping your whole life, I wanted to quit work. I was like, I'm quitting. I'm not working. I'm going home. I'm going to spend every day with you. Like, I don't care about anything. I'm going home. And my dad's like, Emmy, you can't do that. You can't just stop what you're doing. You have to live your life. I don't want you to be here. Like, you go back to Nashville and you work and you make money and you just live your life. You can't stop because of me. And I'm like, you're exactly right. So, gosh, and I don't know how my mom does it. She is a freaking saint, like an angel. She has more strength than anybody I know.
When it's like, crazy. I can second that because with everything that y'all have been dealing with and that you're going through personally, I mean, she will randomly send me text messages that are so encouraging. And it's like, just seeing them sometimes is enough to like get you through the day.
Oh, yeah.
And how she does that while still fighting the toughest thing she's ever fought, to me is like, it's insane.
And she's the caregiver for my dad. And my heart goes out to anyone who is a caregiver and has been affected by ALS because it is a cruel, cruel disease. And caregiving is really hard. Yeah. I mean, really hard. My mom, gosh, she hardly ever sleeps. So when Tripp and I were down at my parents' house with Bence, we were like, y'all need to get some rest. We'll take care of him tonight. I mean, she's on night shift 24/7. Yeah. Like, it's so hard, but I'm like, Mom, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm good. I mean, she'll still like break down every now and then.
But that's where you get it from.
Understandably. Yeah. But I don't see how she does it. She truly has so much strength and grace. It's crazy.
I don't know, just watching y'all it's so hard because you never know the right things to say, what not to say, and I think what we can all do a better job of remembering is it's when we're going through our hard, so many other people are as well. Yeah. And it's not, instead of sitting here feeling sorry for me, like instead of sitting here feeling sorry for myself and this sucks and whatever it may be, like, I've got someone in my life, you, who's going through what the hardest thing imaginable. I couldn't imagine going through what you're going through. Yeah. And I think it takes some time to like step back and for me to not be so consumed in my own life to not be able to pay attention to yours.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the hardest part is just, I know, like, I could do a better job at being here for you and helping with whatever I can help with. But I think it's also coming to that awareness of, hey, like, I can do better. Yeah. Like, and if you can come to the realization that you can do better, then you have to be better.
Right.
You know, like, that's the only thing. And
you don't realize how many people are like going through it. Like after I posted that picture of my dad on Instagram, I got flooded with messages like, my dad has ALS. My brother just got diagnosed. Like, and I try to respond to as many as I can just for support because that's what I needed when my dad got diagnosed with ALS. Actually, it was like about a year later, but her name was Sarah, and she was on The Bachelor, I believe. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Which?
Her dad had ALS.
Okay.
And she left The Bachelor because her dad was sick.
Oh.
And I actually reached out to her, and I was like, hey, like, do you have any support
I remember
groups?
this.
Yeah. And she sent me like her Facebook page, got me in touch with all these different support groups. And that really helped me. And just like watching.
And it doesn't, with where you're coming from, like Chase can only do so much for you. He can only be there for you so much. And there's part of you that still feels alone because you don't realize, in a way, it's like you don't realize what I'm going through. Yeah. Like, I appreciate you being there for me, but you really don't understand it.
Right.
And that's kind of, and you've said the same thing about like, there's only so much you can do for Chase. There's only so much, like, because you don't understand, or
all you can do is be there.
Yeah.
In the best way you know how, and just show love.
And I will say there was a point in time to where really, like, in my heart and mind, to where I kind of opened up a little more. And like when we were in Atlanta for the trial, it was a 3-week trial. And we were all scared. We didn't know. And it was in a courtroom 8 to 10 hours a day. And you were there at the hotel, like the whole time in between driving back and forth to see your dad. Yeah. You went to the grocery store and you like stocked the hotel rooms and
dry cleaning.
Dry cleaning and leaving little notes of encouragement and Bible verses. Yes. And the way that you showed up, like, that's how I want someone to show up for my brother and for my family and and I think a lot of that, it definitely didn't go unseen or unheard.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it went a little unappreciated just because of how much was going on that we could only be consumed in the moment.
Right.
But I think that was when there was a big turning point of like, whoa, like this girl really loves my brother.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah. Like, doesn't matter how much you push me out, I'm not leaving. And just like, I was like, wow, like she really does love and care about him. And I need to stop trying to see the worst. And I think I have a bad habit of seeing the worst so I don't get disappointed.
Right.
And I don't have to like grieve the loss of someone else in my life.
But y'all have been through a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
and not being able to trust people and not being with everything that we've gone through. I think it was just a really hard thing. And just the way that you showed up and the way, like, I don't just thank you for all of that because it really did. Like, it made a difference. Yeah. And like I said, there are times where it's like, okay, like, I wish I could be more like that. Like, I wish I could, it's just, you really
and I look up to you too. You know that.
It's just, we're so similar while also being different. And I think it's taken a while to, like, this is our first real open, honest conversation
with no one else
involved. And that's the hard part is like in our family,
everybody's involved.
Everyone is involved. Everyone.
At all times, 24/7.
Yes.
I joke to Chase, I'm like, you and Savannah can't wipe your butt without telling your dad. He's like, shut up.
I love that.
But that's a thing to be proud of. I mean, y'all are so close.
It is like we're so close to where at times I love it and at times I hate it.
Yeah.
Because everyone feels so entitled to know everyone's business.
Oh, yeah.
Like every step of the way, and then if you don't tell me your business, like I'm offended.
Yeah, then I'm going to get mad at that.
Like, no, there are no boundaries in our family. None, which I feel like we're starting to get better at.
Yeah, I really do.
We're starting to get better at. But also, coming into a family like ours had to have been extremely difficult.
It was.
Like, what would you say is the hardest part?
Well, I remember your dad would always tell me, he's like, first of all, he's like, Emmy, I love you so much, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, but he would always be like, you have to carve your way into this family. I'm like, what does that even mean? I have no clue how to even take that. How do I carve myself into a family like this? Like, I just had no idea. But
and I think, too, to this
day, I still don't even really know what it means, but hopefully I've made progress.
I think when it's like you have to carve your way into it is for us. I mean, you've seen what we've gone through and the like people who have betrayed us and people who we thought we could trust, we couldn't. And we've become so tight knit that it's like, there's no breaking us apart.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to prove. It's kind of like trust is earned.
Yourself. Yeah.
Trust is earned. It's not just given. And it's kind of like, all right, a place in our family isn't just given.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be earned. We've got to feel that level of comfort and trust. And
that's how my family's the same way.
No,
I was going to say.
They're very just like, come on.
The same way. But we did not grow up on TV. I did not have cameras facing me all the time. We didn't really have people like using us or for another reason or, you know, like trusting people and then having them go turn to a media outlet and sell it. Like none of that. So my family's more like, come on, like welcoming, I guess. But so, yeah, that was the hardest part. I'm like, why don't these people like me? I know I'm a good person.
Yeah. And
like,
I just feel like the past few years of our life have been such, with all the legal stuff and it's been so hard. So it's like we've been even harsher on other people.
Yeah.
And it goes to show that like you are a product of your environment. You are what you're going through. As much as you try to not be, there's parts of you that are going to show that it's a struggle and that you're acting out on other people. And I think that's kind of what we've all been guilty of doing. And I will say, you have been steadfast. Like, you have fought your way in.
I told your dad, like, I'm not going anywhere. Like,
well, I was like, I'm tired of her posting her pumpkin spice lattes all over Instagram. Like,
I love my coffee, y'all. It's a thing.
I'm like, oh, let me guess. Emmy's getting her pumpkin spice latte today. Like, you could always expect that.
Oh, yeah. And I also brought Savannah her Starbucks treat this morning.
She actually brought everyone here Starbucks this morning. And that's what I love. Like, you do have such a servant's heart. And
so do you.
I know. Mean, I've been struggling recently with it. I'm not going to lie. I've not been easy to deal with recently, but it's just, I think, part of the emotions, part of, and one thing that's really helped me that you touched on was having people who have gone through similar things. I mean, the amount of people that have reached out to me that are like, my parents, my siblings, whoever it may be, are incarcerated or have gone through legal stuff, whatever it may be. it makes you feel like, okay, I'm not alone.
Right.
Someone understands what I'm saying and how I'm feeling and just the whole process in itself. And there's this girl that lives, she kind of lives like in Spring Hill, and she reached out to me on Instagram, and it was just the very top message, because I've tried to not pay attention to stuff. I've tried, but it was the very top message, and it was something about the first line of her message. So I was like, like, let me look at it.
Yeah.
And she had gone through something extremely similar. Her mom had gone to prison for 10 years. Like, it was, and something about it was just like, all right, I want to call this girl.
Aww.
And I called her. We spoke on the phone for like an hour and a half. And just finally feeling like, okay, someone's gone through what I'm going through, and they know the feelings, and they can talk me through it.
Yeah.
And there was a level of like calmness that kind of came over me, and anxiety lifted, because you're like, okay, now finally someone understands, and someone can help me to understand.
And God puts those people in your life.
It was no coincidence that it was like the first message that had popped up. Like, I was like, all right, that's not a coincidence. And when I read it, I was like, whoa, this sounds oddly familiar. And stuff like that helps. And I feel like I'm now allowing myself to be more open to stuff like that, to where, because I don't trust people. And still, like, if I tell you something, I'm not telling you anything that I don't want repeated, you know? So it's like, if I'm telling you, I'm expecting it to be repeated.
Right.
It's just how I am. Like,
That's how your brain works.
it is. It's like, all right, just automatically don't say anything you don't want repeated.
Yeah.
Just act as if it's going to be a headline on the news, or it's going to, whatever it's going to be. And it's like, only my closest friends
Truly know. And
even the past few weeks, like, my closest friends don't even know, because I've removed myself so much from it. And it's the high functioning depression. It's like, all right, I can still keep going, but like, I'm dying inside. And having people who can relate and understand, and I think that's been the biggest thing, and allowing yourself to be open to it.
Yeah. And I know, I mean, we talked about a bunch of depressing stuff.
I know.
But I was going to say, like, so my dad had a head-on collision in 2018. And I just have to remember, and I'm sure you can relate to this too, he was not supposed to make it. I mean, I was in Miami, and they called me and they said, your dad is in the ambulance right now, and he is not going to make it to the hospital. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, I had to fly back to Atlanta. My plane did not have Wi-Fi. So I didn't know when I landed if my dad would be alive or not. I had no idea. So, I mean, you just have to be thankful. God has given me an extra, what? How many years is that?
5 years.
An extra 5
Almost.
years with him to truly, I mean, we know what's coming with the disease. Like, it's no secret, but it has given me this extra time to truly appreciate him and spend time with my family and love on them. And even with your family, I mean, some of the dates got extended.
Yeah.
You have to celebrate that, you know?
And I think, too, that's been the hardest thing for me to do, because I just remove myself even more, because it's like delaying the inevitable. And so it's hard for me to rejoice in those little wins. Now, you know, with the sentencing, it was the fact that they were able to come home.
Right.
I
was so happy.
Yeah, that was a huge win.
Right.
That's like, all right, we get another Thanksgiving, we get another Christmas. And it's not about receiving gifts.
Right.
It's about being able to have that time and enjoy each other. And I feel myself gearing more towards that, because I did remove myself so much from my parents, and trying to create distance to prepare myself.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of that too sometimes. Like, sometimes I'll like come back to Nashville because it's just easier not to see it.
Yeah.
Which sounds terrible, but it's just so hard.
Until you're in it, you don't understand or know.
That's why I'm saying my mom is so strong. She's with my dad 24/7, like seeing it, listening to him, like trying to take care of him. And I'm just like, I don't understand how she does it. But
yeah.
But what I was saying was we have to celebrate the small little victories and the small little wins that we get, because you've had extra time with your parents and I have too. And other people might not be so lucky, you know?
That is so true. I mean, the amount of people, and too, like I said, everyone comes out of the woodworks when something happens because they feel more comfortable because they're like, okay, I'm not alone. This person's also going through that. And the amount of people I've had that are like, my parents didn't get that lucky. Like, I didn't, that was the last time I saw them. That was, and it does cause you to take a step back and say, whoa, okay, God, like you are working in my life. It may not be exactly how I want it at the time, but you're working because I got this extra time and I got to hug my parents again and love on them. And now I'm taking photos and appreciating them more than I ever would have.
Exactly.
And
I feel like God has really like prepared us for this moment. Like what's happening in your life, what's happening in my life, like every step of the way he's been there. I mean, before he even created us, he knew this was going to happen, And I feel like he's really like prepared you. I mean, you have a strong personality and like you have so much strength. Like not many people could take custody of 2 kids, at how old are you? 25?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're so strong and you need to give yourself credit for that.
Yeah.
Which you do.
I'm trying. And it's like, as long as I can, for me, it's just like, all right, I'll deal with my emotions by myself. Like I will figure it out on my own and trying to realize that like I don't have to do it on my own.
It doesn't have to be that way. And I've told you, we're here. I'm here. I'm not leaving.
We know you're not leaving.
I'm not leaving. And I'll help you any way that I can.
I know. And I love you and I appreciate you. And it's just like we were talking before, and too, because I really do want to bring awareness to, we were talking before we came onto the podcast about last night. I was laying in bed. It's like 1 a.m. and I'm just like sobbing because a friend of mine reposted something on their Instagram story. And it was from this Instagram titled God Behind Bars. And when I tell y'all, please, please, please go and search them. Like I'll even put a link in my Instagram stories.
She showed me before we started recording and I teared up.
It literally is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And all judgment is thrown aside and there's just love being given and showing that like God is forgiveness. It's love. He's accepting. He's all of those things. And it's an organization, and their bio says, we connect prisoners and their families to Christ by connecting them to the local church. $18 gives an inmate the gospel. And watching their Instagram and just how God works in these people's lives and to hear their background and their trauma and what led them to where they're at, but then how they turn to God and their life is saved and have so much, to me, just watching it. And now as a child that's going through some of these similar feelings and emotions, it just really stuck with me. And it also, too, caused me, I'm watching these people who aren't granted freedom in everyday life. Yeah. And you see them and hear them on video and they're like, but guess what? Like, I'm free. They're like, it may not look like I'm free, but I'm free.
Freer than I've ever been because of God.
Yeah. And it was just, to me, I think it's just God working in so many different ways. Because the fact that that came up last night when I've been struggling, it was kind of a reminder of like, hey, Savannah, like, it could be worse. It could be a heck of a lot worse. And you couldn't have the faith that you have to rely on and to give you understanding and all these things. So it just, I encourage you guys to go and take a look at that Instagram. And maybe if you find yourself being more judgmental, to take time to understand someone's story. Yeah. Because I think that's where we all go wrong, is we're so quick to judge when we should be so easy to understand. Oh, yeah. And I'm guilty of it myself. It's so easy to look at someone on the outside and judge. Right. But I want to be more understanding. I want to be more grace-filled and be filled with forgiveness and all of these things. And I think that was just a good reminder of like, hey, there's still work to do. Yeah.
And a thing that you touched on, like when you aren't feeling like your best, like with your relationship with God or whatever you're going through, and you need that like extra push, like, hey, get back into your faith. You have friends and family to rely on that when you don't feel like opening the Bible and digging into the word, we're here to do that for you. Yeah. You know, like we're here. That's what friends and family are for. Like when you can't fill your cup up, we'll be here to do it for you. You know,
I love that. I love that.
Emmy Medders.
Emmy Medders. Y'all, I absolutely love that. And I do want to say, like, I genuinely do love you. And I want a great relationship with you. And I want to be able to do all the fun things with you and feel comfortable and confident enough to be like, hey, where are we meeting today? Or what are we doing? Because you've seen, I can be fun.
Yes, she can. She can.
It actually makes Emmy laugh sometimes. There was one time to where Emmy was like, who are you?
Let me tell you, there was one time I was like, I haven't met this Savannah before. Like, can you reintroduce yourself to me? Because I was like, I love this. Like, can you act like this more? But Savannah, no, she is, you know, you're awesome. But you have a wall up. Yeah. And it doesn't come down very often. I think you've gotten better at allowing yourself to be who you are and like show yourself to people. But
and I think it's hard. I feel like when you have a wall up, it's so easy for that to get misconstrued as being mean or hateful or whatever it may be. But really, I feel like obviously a wall comes up the more hurt someone endures. Yeah. So the more hurt you are, the taller your wall is.
Yeah. And the harder it is to let it down.
Yeah, the harder it is to let it down. And it's kind of like, I feel like it's just like chiseling away at it. The more that people show that they're good people, then it's like, okay, maybe I can let my wall down a little more. Right. Maybe I don't have to be so hard and so cold, and not everyone is going to hurt me.
Yeah. And we all have things we need to work on.
Yeah, we do.
Including me.
Yeah, maybe die down on the pumpkin spice latte post.
I'll never stop that. But.
No, thank you for coming on my podcast. I love you. And who knows, we may just do like a special little like segment on how to get close with your sibling's significant other.
I would love that because I have a lot to say.
All right, we're doing it, but I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much for having me.